So I'm going to read from the 6th chapter, and the only thing this requires is that there's 4 characters you have to know. So a little bit of thinking, I apologize. The main character is Lulu. And then we're going to be hanging out with her ex-boyfriend, who is named Owen. So Lulu, Owen. New girl named Cass, who Lulu met at a party recently and is intrigued by, shall we say. And then Cass's friend Ryan, who owns this sort of old hotel where they're all hanging out. Because I really wanted to read a piece where there was like as much human contact as possible. So I'm going to do that. Thank you for your beautiful comments. I feel bad for not responding to them, but if I do, it'll be chaos. If Cass is pissed about Lulu inviting someone to join them, she doesn't act like it. Lulu figures she's relieved, probably. This way there's no third-wheeling worries. Just 2 girls, 2 boys, an abandoned building, and the night. Exactly the way it's supposed to be. Right? The hotel seems darker than it did last time. The fairy lights strung through the trees along the entryway aren't on, and the moon is waning, turning thin in the sky. Owen makes a joke about being a kidnapping victim, and Cass laughs politely. Lulu made it out okay, she says. Lulu was the bait, Owen says, straight-faced. I'm the real prize. Cass throws a look over her shoulder at him in the back seat. For just an instant, she's razor sharp, as if a mask has fallen away, leaving the slice of her judgment raking over him. No, you're not, she says. And then, just as fast, she's smiling again. I mean, I hear Lulu's the one with 5,000 Flash followers. That does seem to be the fact of the day, Lulu says. Also, currently 5,001, because Cass just followed Lulu on Flash. Since last time they were here, someone has spray-painted actual lines for parking spaces directly in front of the hotel, which makes it feel less magical. Lulu is pleased that Cass pointedly ignores them, pulling her car in so that it straddles 2 spots. The same black Range Rover, presumably Ryan's, is parked sideways to take up the remaining 3. Full for the night, Cass observes as they step out. Lulu inhales lungfuls of cold, clean air. Last time she was here, she was so caught up in the strangeness of it that she couldn't see details, but now smaller things come into focus. The spray of pink jasmine being trained to grow along the hotel's 2nd story, and the soft rustle of its leaves and blooms in the night. She listens to their small sounds and breathes that blank winter air and feels something go loose across her chest. The lobby is brightly lit, and from outside, Lulu can see a reality TV show playing on a flat screen installed on a wall. A piece of printer paper tacked underneath it reads, "Warning, these premises are being monitored by cameras." Aside from the TV and the sign, the room is mostly bare. Ryan is alone inside. He's pacing around, smoking a clove cigarette and looking broody. Lulu wishes Bea were here so that they could make fun of him for being such a pretentious hipster together. Instead, Cass greets Ryan with a kiss on the cheek. He slings a proprietary arm around her shoulders. "Ryan, you remember Lulu," Cass says, "and this is Owen." "Owen Lewis, right?" Ryan asks. "I know your dad." Lulu glances at Owen. He hates talking about his dad. They get along. They're pretty close, actually, but people get kind of weird about it. Owen's dad is famous. "He played my dad's 70th last year," Ryan goes on. "He's a cool guy." "Oh," Owen says. "Yeah, I remember that party." His dad's band isn't usually the type to do that kind of thing. Lulu wonders how much money Riggs Sr. had to spend to get them to agree. But it's a good thing, maybe, because the dick-measuring tension that was in the air feels like it deflates, then disappears. They both have dads people sometimes get weird about. Tonight, at least, no one is going to make it weird. Ryan turns to Cass. "So what are we getting up to?" he asks. "Aren't you supposed to be hosting us?" she returns. "Fuck, you're right, I am," Ryan laughs. He detaches himself from Cass and looks around the space, frowning at its emptiness. "Hope you weren't expecting a cool party or anything." "Lulu's been here before," Cass reminds him. "We just left a cool party," Owen says. "Wasn't that fun, turns out, so we're definitely open to other ideas." Ryan takes them up to his room and instructs them to gather supplies. Blankets and pillows and candles, plus a big canvas bag and a bottle of vodka. The space doesn't look much more fully inhabited than last time Lulu was here. She wonders where Ryan actually lives. She doesn't ask, though, out of habit. She's so used to pretending to know more than she does that she's almost forgotten how to let someone know she's curious. Plus, Ryan and Owen are deep in conversation she doesn't want to join or interrupt. Something about the Dodgers' spring training prospects. Go Dodgers. Instead, she grabs the bag, it's annoyingly heavy, and drapes herself in a blanket. She follows Cass back down the stairs. You guys do this often, she asks. Sort of, Cass says. Usually without two randos along for the ride. The hotel is always changing, Cass explains. A year ago, it was too dangerous to go inside any of the buildings, and 6 months ago, it wasn't wired for electricity yet. We got running water last week. The parking spaces, Lulu says. What you can do with it changes, Cass says. Every week it's a different adventure, a different project. Lulu thinks of sneaking around that house with Bea, taking their dumb, funny flashes, making each other laugh. She thinks of the way they find fun together wherever they go, and she thinks she understands. Lulu and Cass walk out past the cars and through a small gate to a flat stretch of patio, which surrounds a gigantic empty pool. Cass picks her way around the perimeter to the shallowest point and descends the steps there, her footfalls echoing as she heads toward the deep end. Watching her walk is surreal. Lulu can't help imagining the water that's supposed to surround her, and how quiet it would be as she disappeared underneath it. She half expects the air to feel different on her skin when she follows. It doesn't, though. It's a little darker with the building's lights blocked by the pool's rim, but otherwise the same. Cass takes the bag from Lulu and unzips it to reveal a bunch of poles and more canvas. Can I help? Lulu asks. She has no idea what Cass is doing. Nah, Cass says. Ryan and I have a two-man tent set up pretty figured out. She starts piling the poles up by size. Lulu makes herself useful by taking a swig of vodka. Her buzz from earlier dissipated on the drive, and now she's just feeling anxious. She tries to drown the butterflies in her stomach with booze. From the bottle, Cass says. Bold. I can handle myself, Lulu says. I can see that. Cass is still focused on the task at hand, but the clarity of her assessment, the same sharp certainty she used to put Owen in his place in the car, feels surprisingly familiar. It's a distinct echo of the unapologetic, unadorned voice that has presided in the back of Lulu's own head for as long as she can remember. The one she always listens to, but never lets speak. I like you, she thinks at Cass's back, and then takes another swallow. The boys are carrying less, but they make more noise coming out through the parking lot and down into the pool. Ryan makes a big deal out of helping Cass with the tent. He stands behind her, accidentally on purpose, pressing his body against hers, making a point of how small she is and how neatly she fits against him. Owen drifts over to Lulu, and she hands him the bottle, wordless. Their fingers brush in the exchange, and Lulu has a flash of the two of them a little over a year ago at the beginning, sitting on someone's couch, comparing the size of their hands. Owen's palm was bigger, of course, and warm. He folded her hands into fists and wrapped his around them, fingers on the backs of her wrists. Lulu knew it was stupid to like that he made her feel small, and liked it anyway. Now she says to Owen, "You and Ryan seem to be getting along." Owen makes a face about the burn of the vodka going down. "Like a house on fire," he replies. "Well, let's hope not." The tent is standing now. Lulu has never been camping, not really, but a few years ago Deirdre had them glamp in yurts up near Big Sur, and that's sort of what this looks like. Round and white, although much smaller than those ones were. Lulu picks up one of the pillows at her feet and hands it off to Cass, who tosses it inside and reaches for more. Sorry. My phone had a brief moment, but I think we're back. Lulu picks up one of the pillows at her feet and hands it off to Cass, who tosses it inside. How much did you guys miss? I'm sorry. My phone is not good at what it does. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Lulu picks up one of the pillows at her feet and hands it off to Cass, who tosses it inside and reaches for more. As soon as she's done with the cushioning, Ryan disappears inside and Cass follows him. Lulu moves to do the same, but Owen grabs her sleeve. "What are we doing here, Lou?" he asks. Lulu doesn't know how to explain that it's been months and months since she felt comfortable with anyone besides Bea, that she hasn't wanted to go anywhere since the Sloan flash, but this is different. It isn't exactly going out, even though it's definitely not staying in. Lulu used to be comfortable with Owen, too, always without question. Maybe she still is. She finds herself telling him the truth, or at least part of it. "I don't know," she says. Owen nods. He's not like Lulu. always weighing and measuring, trying to see all of the angles and come at it from the best one. He just likes to know his own mind, to make sure he's right with himself. He knows how to keep his balance better than almost anyone else Lulu knows. That makes two of us, he says, and slips between the canvas flaps. Lulu looks up at the darkness of the sky above her, all of that limitless black. In the context of infinity, it's easy to think that there's no right thing to do, at least not right now, at least not tonight. She follows Owen in. Once they're settled, Owen takes out his phone and try to play music, but Ryan makes him put it away again. No phones at the hotel, he says, and Cass echoes him. No phones at the hotel. At first, the quiet that surrounds their conversation unnerves Lulu. You can hear each of them tuning in and out again. The moments in which no one has anything to say stand out, stark and unmissable. Eventually, though, in the later, woozier hours, she starts to find it comforting. There's a rhythm to this, she thinks, what we're doing here together. The way the conversation falls away and then finds itself again if you let it. Lulu wraps herself in a blanket. She tips sideways into Owen's lap. His hands tangle in her hair. She remembers digging her fingers into his thighs, his back, the back of his head. "Are you guys together?" she hears Ryan ask. The words sound like they're being spoken somewhere very far away. "Nah," Owen says, "we were." "You look so pretty like this, though," Cass says. "Lulu and I love each other," Owen says, "that's all." Lulu hears bodies shifting, rearranging themselves. Cass asks, "That's all, huh?" Lulu wishes she were awake enough to read Cass's tone. "That's all," Owen says. "That's all there is, right?" My parents clapping. Acevedo, I'm glad to know that you find Owen attractive. He's a hottie as a character.